Right. What's the secret to somebody healing in physical therapy? What would you say?
Oh, man, having a great attitude. That's number one. Having a great attitude and mindset. Like, hey, I'm coming here to heal. If that's your intention, you're going to make leaps and bounds in progress. But oftentimes we see the other end of that as well, where we see people kind of like, you kind of get this notion that they're just here to fulfill a requirement so that they can continue this path of like least resistance that they've found that they kind of like.
So number one, it might become their identity.
Yeah.
So if they lose that injury, they lose themselves.
Yeah. I love that you said that. That's so important. It's like, yeah, you have lower back pain. You have lower back pain. You are not low back pain. You have low back pain. But
I can call you low back pain if you like me to.
Right. But when that becomes your identity, that's so good. When that becomes your identity, when someone tries to heal you of your back pain, subconsciously you're offended. Because you identify with this. And so if you identify with this, somebody's trying to break down your identity. It's like, no, like you need to separate yourself from this. You're not your pain. You are not your pain. It's something that you have. It's not something that you have to cower under.
And honestly, one of the things John McClendon, who ran the our clinic, I remember him saying to a patient, he was like, this is your now, this isn't your forever. And I always thought that was great.
That's good.
Because it's like the pain's transitory. Like if you do the right things, at the very least, you'll lower the pain.
Yeah.
That's very really where you can't lower some of the pain by doing the right things, eating better, stuff like that. But it's that mindset of like, this is not your forever.
Right.
This is, and you could say that in anything.
Yeah.
And I like what you said, like, I would consider you more religious than me, where I'm more like universe spiritual, right?
Yeah.
Very close parallels.
Yeah.
Where you would say God, I would say God or source or universe kind of thing.
Right.
But, when you say God or if you say the universe, everything's always working out for me. Mm-hmm. Then when you're in that pain, you're like, okay. And I've done this numerous amounts of time because the amount of contrast I've experienced now doing this political thing, on top of everything else I'm doing, I've seen myself be that soda can and be a little bit empty and be frazzled. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I'm not usually frazzled at all.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, like if I'm going to handle all this, like I have to learn to cope with even more pressure on my Coke can.
Right.
But I've been saying like everything always works out. Mm-hmm. And it does.
Yeah.
Like I can see it like, okay, because I know it's going to work out. Yeah. I know right now I might be navigating.
Right.
But eventually I'll find the shore.
Yes.
But yeah, I think in therapy, getting back to that, it's really about being optimistic, knowing you can heal, and having the desire to heal.
Yes, having a great mindset, coming in with the mindset that I'm leaving here differently than I came in. So having that mindset and attracting your mind to those things, you'll leave with like, oh, like my knee's moving like this when before it wasn't, But when the frequency of your mind is set to just negative things, that's all you're going to look for.
And honestly, we'll tell as a therapist, if you're negative, I know I'm not really helping. Yeah. Well, number one, I know I'm not going to probably help you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We've got to do way more to like pull you out of that hole.
Yes, which we did well. Yeah. Using humor.
Using a lot of humor, getting their mind off of the fact that, like this is sort of like, no, just do this for a moment, and talk about something random. Like we find topics like food and like
it would just be ridiculous.
Yeah, ridiculous things that can really divert them from that.
You changing their pattern of thought.
Yes.
Right. So I'm interrupting their patterns.
Yes.
And so an example, they'd be and if I knew there was a patient who was just down and out, Harry might be working with them, and I might walk by and be like, Harry, you think my arms are bigger today? Right? And just like flex and like
that one little thing.
The patient might not even know me.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, what was that?
This guy's
But then they catch on.
Yes.
And then I'd be like, whatever. Hey Tim, like he looks big, right?
Yeah.
And I just walk away, and it switches them.
Exactly.
Because they want to have fun.
Yes.
They just don't know it.
Yeah. And a lot of times people don't know.
But they did look bigger usually when I said that.
Usually, yeah.
What's up,
but a lot of people sometimes don't even realize that they're on that negative track because they've been in it so long, it feels normal. It's almost like, you ever seen those commercials, the Febreze commercials, where they'll blindfold someone and they'll take them into like a stinky room with like garbage everywhere, and like they spray Febreze and it smells like, flowers and petunias. They're blindfolded. They come in and like, oh, it smells like a flower bed or a garden, something like that. And then they take it off. It's like, whoa. Like, I'm in a room full of garbage. I feel like that sometimes with people, it's like their mindset is sort of like in a room full of garbage, but it's like been sprayed with Febreze. So they think it's normal. It's like everything's cool. Or even so much so, like, even like a different example is like when you spend enough time in a smelly room, you don't smell it anymore.
Yeah.
Until someone new comes in and is like, whoa, you don't smell that? And so it takes another person coming in and kind of like removing the blindfold, or just letting us say, hey, like, you don't smell that? And when you're aware of it, that's when you can like get rid of it.
We have blinders on.
Yeah.
And I think that's the importance of having a coach, whether it's a fitness coach, a martial arts coach, a physical therapist, a spiritual coach.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's where you need to have these people who have already been where you want to be.
Yeah.
Helping you get there.
Yeah. Because when they've been through it, they've got the strength, the faith, that you're going to make it too. If you meet someone who's had chronic back pain and now they're fully healed, pair them up with someone.
And they're going to have the belief
Yeah.
that you can heal.
Yeah.
Right?
Because they've been there.
What's one religious teaching or lesson that you would share with me? Only one, though. You can only give me one.
Yeah.
Self-praise is no praise. Shout out to Father Joe.
I would say humility. I think people get humility the wrong way. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. Humility is thinking of yourself less.
Okay.
And another part of humility, I would say, is humility is esteeming yourself accurately. When we look at the life of Jesus, he always said who he was and who he wasn't. He always said what he came here to do and what he didn't come here to do. He esteemed himself accurately. And when you esteem yourself accurately, you can do what you've come to do. So I'll put it like this.
It's like your authentic self.
Yes. So people who overesteem themselves, that's arrogance and pride, and arrogance and pride can leak into many different areas of your life and cause a lot of toxicity, because when you're arrogant, one, you're not going to treat people well. And also you're going to overesteem what you're able to do and put yourself in positions for yourself to fail. That'll also bring your own self-esteem down as well. Underestimating yourself as well too. It's like playing the little guy. That does not help you in life.
Or anybody else.
Or anybody else.
Yeah.
Playing the little guy. Like always having this resolve like, oh, like, man, like I'm so bad. Like everything's my fault. Like things are not working out because of me. Things are not going well because of me. It's like, I don't do this well. I don't do that well. It's like, if you think about it, that's a little bit of pride in and of itself, because it's all about you. Because let's say when things do start working out, you're going to take all the credit for yourself as well. It's like, oh, things ain't working out because of me. And then when things do start working out, oh, everything's working out because of me. Like they're doing well because of me. Like, no, it's like we have to get into a space where we're balanced with how we see ourselves. It's like making sure we identify ourselves accurately so that we can be at most optimal, like, to other people and ourselves.
So it's really about impacting others.
Absolutely.
And not downplaying yourself.
Don't play the little guy.
But not just thinking about yourself, thinking about the whole collective.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. And that doesn't mean that you're mistreating yourself either. There's balance in all of that.
Hello, my name is Dr. Marc Bochner. Don't forget to check out my new book, Pug Learns to Believe.